July 2, 1937. The world's most famous female pilot is flying over the vast Pacific Ocean. She is only hours away from making history. Silence. No distress call. No wreckage. No survivors. Nothing. For nearly 90 years, investigators, governments, and treasure hunters have searched for the truth. But what if the official story is wrong? What if Amelia Earhart didn't simply crash into the ocean? What if she was captured? And what hidden evidence has kept this mystery alive for generations? Tonight, we're uncovering one of history's greatest unsolved disappearances. Thank you very much for your support. Before we dive into the main story, please kindly follow our page, like, comment, and share. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the bell notification button for more interesting video like this. Long before Amelia Earhart disappeared, she was already a global celebrity. Born in 1897, she grew up in a world where women were expected to stay on the ground while men conquered the skies. Amelia had other plans. After her first airplane ride in 1920, she became obsessed with flying. She worked odd jobs, saved every dollar she could, and eventually bought her first airplane. What happened next shocked the world. She shattered altitude records, crossed oceans, became the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic. Suddenly, Amelia Earhart wasn't just a pilot. She was a symbol of courage, a symbol of freedom, a symbol that anything was possible. But her greatest challenge was still ahead, a challenge that would change history forever. In 1937, Amelia announced an ambitious mission. She would fly around the world. Not across a continent, not across an ocean, around the entire planet, nearly 29,000 miles. It would be one of the longest aerial journeys ever attempted. Her aircraft was a specially modified Lockheed Electra. Accompanying her was navigator Fred Noonan, one of the most experienced navigators alive. The flight began successfully. They crossed South America, Africa, India, Southeast Asia, Australia. The mission was progressing almost perfectly. Crowds celebrated them everywhere they landed. Newspapers followed every mile. History was within reach. Then they arrived at New Guinea. Only one major challenge remained: the Pacific Ocean. A vast expanse with almost no landmarks. No cities. No roads. No room for error. And waiting in the middle of that ocean was a tiny island barely visible from the air. Their destination: Howland Island. A speck of land less than 2 miles long. Finding it would be like finding a grain of sand in an endless sea. On July 2, 1937, Amelia and Fred departed The weather seemed manageable. The aircraft was fueled. The crew was confident. At first, radio communications sounded normal. Then problems began. Signals became weak. Messages were incomplete. The pilots reported difficulty locating Howland Island. As the hours passed, tension grew. The U.S. Coast Guard cutter Itasca waited near the island, desperately trying to guide them. Radio operators listened carefully. Then came one of the most haunting transmissions in aviation history. "We are on the line 157-337. The message suggested Amelia was searching desperately along a navigation line. But there was a problem. No one knew exactly where she was. Minutes later, another transmission arrived. Then another. And then nothing. The radio went silent. Forever. Amelia Earhart had vanished. News spread across the world. America was stunned. The search began immediately. Ships. Military personnel. Millions of dollars. The U.S. government launched the largest and most expensive search operation in history at that time. Thousands of square miles were examined. Nothing. No airplane. No life raft. No bodies. No confirmed debris. Imagine losing a modern airliner and finding absolutely nothing. That was the mystery investigators faced. Weeks became months. Months became years. And eventually the official conclusion emerged. Amelia Earhart had likely run out of fuel and crashed into the Pacific Ocean. Case closed. Or was it? For decades, researchers accepted the crash and sink explanation. Then strange claims began to emerge. Witnesses from islands across the Pacific reported hearing mysterious radio signals after Amelia supposedly crashed. Some believed she survived the initial disappearance. Others claimed she landed somewhere unexpected. Then came an even more explosive theory. What if Amelia never crashed near Howland Island at all? What if she reached territory controlled by Imperial Japan? At the time, Japan controlled many Pacific islands. Some researchers suggested Amelia accidentally landed in the Marshall Islands. According to this theory, she and Fred Noonan were captured by Japanese forces. The story sounds unbelievable. Yet witnesses later claimed they had seen foreign aviators matching Amelia and Noonan's descriptions. Were these memories reliable? Or were they stories shaped by time? The debate continues today. Then investigators uncovered something fascinating. In 1940, human bones were reportedly discovered on a remote Pacific island known as Nikomaroro. Alongside them were items that appeared linked to a castaway. For decades, the bones were believed lost. But records survived. Years later, modern researchers reanalyzed the measurements. Some experts argued the remains were consistent with a woman of Amelia Earhart's proportions. Others strongly disagreed. The evidence remains controversial. Yet it reignited one possibility. Perhaps Amelia survived the flight. Perhaps she landed on a remote island. Perhaps she lived for days, or even weeks, before dying alone. It's a heartbreaking possibility, and one that remains impossible to prove. In 2017, a photograph suddenly made headlines worldwide. Researchers claimed it showed Amelia Earhart and Fred Noonan alive after their disappearance. The image appeared to support the capture theory. Media outlets exploded with excitement. Had the mystery finally been solved? Then came the twist. Investigators discovered the photograph had likely existed before Amelia disappeared. If true, the image could not possibly show her after the flight. The bombshell evidence collapsed almost overnight. A potential breakthrough became another dead end. Yet the controversy only deepened public fascination. Here's the hidden fact many documentaries overlook. Radio experts have analyzed dozens of distress signals allegedly received after Amelia vanished. Some researchers believe several signals could only have been transmitted if the aircraft remained intact on land. Not underwater. Not sunk in the ocean. On land. If true, it would suggest Amelia survived the initial disappearance. However, skeptics argue many of the signals were likely hoaxes or misunderstandings. The evidence remains disputed, but it raises a chilling question. If Amelia survived the crash, how long did she survive? After nearly a century, no theory explains every piece of evidence. The crash theory explains the fuel problem. The island castaway theory explains the bones. The capture theory explains the eyewitness reports. Each theory solves part of the puzzle, and each leaves critical questions unanswered. That is why this mystery refuses to die. Because every answer creates a new mystery. Somewhere beneath the Pacific Ocean, or hidden on a remote island, the truth may still exist. Perhaps Amelia Earhart's aircraft is waiting to be discovered. Perhaps evidence remains buried beneath decades of sand and jungle. Or perhaps history's greatest aviation mystery will never be solved. Nearly 90 years later, one question still haunts investigators. When Amelia Earhart disappeared into the Pacific sky on that July morning, did she crash into the ocean? Or did she survive long enough to uncover a secret she was never meant to find? And if the answer is still out there, who will discover it first? Thank you for watching. For more videos like this, please follow our page, like, comment and share. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel for more interesting historic fact videos.